This time we're going to be talking about instrument mics and DI boxes. First of all, we'll look at my drum mic set, which consists of 5 microphones. We have a kick bass microphone, we have 2 tom mics, we have a snare mic. This is actually marked as dedicated for the snare, and we have a condenser mic. You may remember we discussed these briefly when I was doing the overview of the mixing desk and the rack effects rack. So yeah, that's the mic. That's the condenser mic. So kick bass mic, nice big chunky mic. They all come pre-fitted with mic stand adapters, so you can put them all on your mic stands. I do for the toms and for the snare. In the other case that I'll show you that's got the other mics in the DI boxes, I have what they call rim clips to allow you to connect or attach these directly to the rim of the toms or the snare. So yeah, these are denoted as a tom because it's a CMWT, and the snare is marked as a CMWS. Okay, comes with a little wind pop shield for the condenser mic as well. This particular kit also came with a little mic clip for the condenser mic, which was quite handy. Saved having to try and attach a mic clip to the casing of the condenser mic, because this particular condenser mic, unlike others, the cheaper ones, this particular one unscrews, and as well as requiring the 48 volt phantom power from the desk, it also has to have a AA battery inside it. So without the AA battery, this condenser mic will not work. So that is my Carlsberg drum mic set, and we'll now move on to all the additional microphones I have for instruments. And here we are. As you can see, there's quite a selection of items in here, including this larger box which has several microphones inside it. We'll go into those in a minute. As I mentioned before, I have several rim clips for drum mics, so we can open this up and it allows the rim of the drum to be inserted in here. Clamp that down, tighten that up, the drum mic attaches to here. You've got movement on here to get the desired angle, and then you tighten that up. These clips also have on the back, I don't know if you can see it on the video, a cable clip. So once you've got your XLR cable plugged into the back of the mic, you can bring it around here, clip it into here, and this reduces strain on the cable as it plugs into the mic and stops the mic being pulled out of position. I have several of those, at least one for every mic that I've got that will go on a drum rim. Additional drum mics, I have an additional kick bass mic. This is a JTS TX2. Again, nice big chunky mic. I will generally only use this if I've got a drummer using 2 kick basses and using independent pedals on both. Most drummers that have a double kick bass setup generally have a double pedal. The second kick bass drum is there primarily for show, or also as a backup if they put a beater through the skin on their main kick bass. They will quickly swap over to the other kick bass and then use that. But some drummers, I have done it in the past, like to use a separate kick pedal on each kick bass drum, so that's why I'll have a second kick bass mic. I also have an additional tom / snare mic. I'll generally use this if the drummer's got a larger kit, as opposed to just maybe a rack tom, a floor tom and a snare. If they've got a couple of rack toms and maybe a third rack tom and a floor tom, I'll use one of the Carlsberg mics centered across the two top racks, use the other Carlsberg tom mic on a third rack tom, and then I'll use this one on the floor tom, just to give me the expansion I need for as many drums as the drummer might have. Okay, before we go on to the DI boxes, we'll just go into the mics that are in this case. So as you can see, several mics in here. I have 2 of these. These are not Shure SM57s, although they do look like them. They have the same frequency, similar frequency response, not exactly the same, because obviously the Shure cartridge in the end of their mic is patented to them. Again, industry standard XLR input, and these are used primarily for miking up guitar cabs and such like. I have two of those. I have another condenser mic. This is actually a sealed unit, so no additional battery inside this one. This just requires the phantom power from the desk to run this one. This one I like to use on hi-hats because it's nice and powerful and it's small enough to get into the tight space around a hi-hat. I then have a matched pair of small little pencil condenser mics. Again, XLR inputs, and because these are a matched pair, I like to use these as overheads if it's a larger drum kit, and I will generally put them on the mic stands over the kit in such a fashion so that they pick up all the cymbals around the kit from one side all the way around to the other side in an even manner. I generally would leave these centered on the desk. I wouldn't pan these because panning cymbals can be a bit messy from the front of house sound. So that's the additional mics that are in this case. Finally, we have DI boxes or direct injection boxes. I have a mono one and I have a stereo one. The mono one I will tend to use on a bass guitar if the bass player doesn't have a DI out on his bass amp itself. I will use a DI box for the bass. I then have a stereo one, which I tend to use for keyboards. Most keyboards have either a stereo out, or if the keyboard player has two keyboards, I'll use a mono out for each one and run each keyboard through a mono. They all have high-ins, they all have a ground lift, and they all have XLR outs. Okay, this one actually has stereo mono select, so if I'm doing a mono feed, switch to there. If I'm actually running two keyboards, I'll switch it to there for stereo. So the last thing in here, not many people carry these, I've got two of them, they're just clipped together, is what's called a phase inverter. Now if I'm running a second mic on, say, a snare drum, so I've got one over the top and I possibly have one coming from underneath to really accentuate the snare. If you don't invert the phase on the second mic, you will get cancellation of sound and you will practically lose your snare drum altogether because the signals from the two snares mics are cancelling each other out. So you phase invert the second mic. You must have you must invert that phase on the second mic. I bought two of these, so I've always got a backup in case one fails. But that is the only place I would ever use it, is on a second mic on a snare drum. So that covers all the microphones and DI boxes I have for instruments and vocals. Love to hear from my subscribers what they would like to see on the next video. This will be the last one I'll upload until I get some feedback from my viewers. Thank you very much.